United States has long been seen as a land of opportunity and prosperity. It's a place where people come to achieve their goals, start businesses, and raise families. But not all states are thriving equally. Some states are facing serious challenges: declining populations, struggling economies, and rising social issues. These states are in trouble, and their futures are uncertain. In today's video, we'll dive into the 10 fastest collapsing states in the USA in 2025, and how these challenges are affecting the people who live there. If you live in these states or want to settle, then I would suggest to you leave these states as soon as possible and settle in some other states, because these states are going to brink of collapse in 2025. Number 10. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, often called the Keystone State, has been central to America's history, economy, and identity, from the signing of the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. However, in recent decades, the state has faced a series of economic, social, and political challenges that have reshaped its landscape. Pennsylvania's economy, once fueled by coal, steel, and manufacturing, is facing significant decline. Manufacturing jobs have shrunk dramatically, with the sector losing nearly 200,000 jobs since the early 2000s. In 2023, Pennsylvania's GDP growth was a sluggish 1.2%, compared to the national average of 2.6%. This economic stagnation has contributed to widespread business flight. Companies are leaving Pennsylvania for states like Texas and North Carolina. The cost of living in Pennsylvania continues to rise, putting pressure on both families and businesses. Housing costs have increased by 34% in the past decade, while wage growth has stagnated at around 2% annually. A report in 2023 ranked Pennsylvania as the 11th most expensive state for small businesses, leading many to relocate. This exodus of businesses has a ripple effect, reducing job opportunities and tax revenues, further compounding economic challenges. Pennsylvania is seeing a stark divide between its wealthy elite and struggling working-class families. As of 2024, the top 10% of earners in Pennsylvania control over 50% of the state's income. The middle class is shrinking. In 1980, 60% of households were middle income. By 2023, that number had dropped to 43%. This growing economic disparity leaves many Pennsylvanians feeling left behind, fueling social unrest and economic instability. The housing crisis in Pennsylvania has reached critical levels. In 2023, the state recorded 15,000 homeless individuals, a 12% increase from the previous year, the highest on record. Rising housing costs outpace wage growth, with the median rent in cities like Philadelphia climbing to $1,150 per month, up 40% in the last decade. These trends are forcing families to make difficult choices between essentials like food and housing, further widening economic inequality. Pennsylvania faces mounting crumbling infrastructure. Over 3,300 bridges in Pennsylvania are classified as structurally deficient, while the state requires over $15 billion for necessary road repairs. Water systems are also failing. In 2023, 500,000 residents reported unsafe drinking water due to aging pipelines. The cost of maintaining and upgrading infrastructure is a growing burden on the state budget, with no easy solutions in sight. Pennsylvania is also losing residents, a troubling trend for its future. The state's population dropped by 40,000 people in 2023, with more families moving to states offering lower taxes and better economic opportunities. Philadelphia, once the nation's second-largest city, saw its population fall to 1.55 million in 2023, down from 2.1 million in 1950. This outmigration leads to a shrinking tax base and fewer resources to address pressing state needs. Pennsylvania seeing rising crime. Violent crime rates in major cities like Philadelphia have spiked, with 500 homicides reported in 2023, marking one of the highest rates in the country. Property crimes, including carjackings and burglaries, are also on the rise. Number 9. New Jersey. New Jersey, often called the Garden State, is renowned for its proximity to major metropolitan hubs, scenic shorelines, and historical significance. However, despite its strengths, New Jersey faces a range of challenges that impact its economy, communities, and future. New Jersey is notorious for its high cost of living, which creates pressure for both families and businesses. As of 2023, the state ranked as the 8th most expensive in the U.S., with the average household spending $67,000 annually just to maintain basic living standards. Housing costs are a significant factor, with the median home price at $465,000, far above the national average of $416,000. High living expenses are pushing many residents to leave the state, while others struggle to make ends meet. The economic stagnation has further fueled social unrest as inequalities widen, leading to increased frustration among New Jersey's diverse population. New Jersey's economy, once thriving, is now struggling with stagnation and systemic challenges, debt and taxes. New Jersey has one of the highest state debt levels in the nation, amounting to over $220 billion in 2023. It also has the highest property taxes in the U.S., averaging $9,500 per household annually. Many businesses are leaving the state due to high operating costs and heavy regulation. In 2023, 1,800 businesses relocated to more tax-friendly states like Florida and Texas. These economic troubles leave residents bearing the brunt of stagnant wages, rising costs, and limited opportunities for upward mobility. New Jersey is experiencing a slow but steady population decline, a trend that threatens its long-term vitality. In 2023, New Jersey lost over 30,000 residents, marking the fifth consecutive year of population decline. The primary reasons for this outmigration are the high cost of living and the lack of affordable housing, with many families moving to states like Pennsylvania and North Carolina for better opportunities. New Jersey's social fabric is also under strain, with issues ranging from poverty to crime. New Jersey's, despite being one of the wealthiest states, 8.2% of residents live below the poverty line, disproportionately affecting urban areas like Newark and Camden. Economic disparities are stark, with the wealthiest 20% of households earning nearly 10 times more than the poorest 20%. Crime rates steadily increasing. Urban crime remains a significant concern. Newark and Camden consistently rank among the most dangerous cities in the U.S., with violent crime rates of 700 per 100,000 residents in 2023. These challenges are compounded by social unrest, as communities demand better resources, policing reforms, and economic opportunities. Number 8. Louisiana. Louisiana is home to iconic landmarks, world-renowned cuisine, and lively festivals like Mardi Gras. But beneath the surface of its charm and energy, Louisiana faces daunting challenges that threaten its future. For decades, Louisiana's economy was deeply tied to the oil and gas industry. However, the collapse of this sector has had devastating consequences. Between 2014 and 2023, Louisiana lost over 20,000 oil and gas jobs due to declining demand, automation, and the global shift toward renewable energy. In 2023, the state's GDP growth stood at just 0.6%, well below the national average of 2.6%, highlighting its economic stagnation. The decline in oil revenue has rippled through other sectors, impacting small businesses, state budgets, and employment opportunities. While Louisiana may be as expensive as some coastal states, the cost of living has risen significantly in recent years. Housing costs in cities like New Orleans have surged by 30% in the last decade, with the median rent now at $1,400 per month. Utility costs are among the highest in the nation, with the average household paying $1,800 annually, driven by extreme weather and aging infrastructure. Food prices in the state have increased by 15% since 2020, outpacing wage growth for many residents. For low and middle-income families, these rising costs make it increasingly difficult to make ends meet, exacerbating economic inequality. Louisiana is also facing a troubling trend of population loss. In 2023, the state's population dropped by 40,000 people, the second consecutive year of decline. Outmigration is driven by a lack of job opportunities, high living costs, and frequent environmental disasters. Many residents are relocating to states like Texas and Florida for better economic prospects and stability. Louisiana is stranger to natural disasters, but the frequency and severity of these events have increased alarmingly. Hurricane Ida, 2021, and subsequent storms caused over $18 billion in damages, leaving communities struggling to recover years later. Coastal erosion has been another long-term issue, with Louisiana losing a football field's worth of land every hour due to rising sea levels and subsidence. In 2023, over 60% of the state experienced drought conditions, threatening agriculture and water supplies. Louisiana also struggles with significant social challenges, poverty, and crime. As of 2023, Louisiana has the third highest poverty rate in the nation at 18.5%, with rural areas hit the hardest. Over 25% of children in Louisiana live below the poverty line, limiting access to education and health care. Violent crime rates are alarmingly high. In 2023, Louisiana reported 15.4 homicides per 100,000 residents. The highest rate in the U.S. Cities like New Orleans and Baton Rouge are grappling with increases in property crimes and gang-related violence. These issues are compounded by a strained criminal justice system, underfunded education, and limited social services, making it difficult to break the cycle of poverty and crime. Number 7. Ohio. Ohio was once an industrial titan, its economy driven by steel, auto manufacturing, and heavy machinery. Cities like Cleveland, Toledo, and Dayton thrived as manufacturing hubs. However, the 1980s deindustrialization hit Ohio hard, with jobs being outsourced overseas or replaced by automation. In 2000, manufacturing accounted for 20% of Ohio's workforce. By 2023, that figure had fallen to just 11%. The state lost over 300,000 manufacturing jobs since the turn of the century, with significant layoffs during the Great Recession. This decline has led to wage stagnation. In 2023, Ohio's median household income was $62,117, below the national average of $74,580. Entire communities were devastated as factories shuttered, creating economic ripple effects still felt today. Ohio's population is shrinking, a troubling trend for its economy and vibrancy. The U.S. Census data shows Ohio's population peaked at 11.7 million in 2010, but declined to 11.5 million in 2023. Young people are leaving the state in droves, seeking better opportunities in states like Texas and Florida. This brain drain has led to an aging population. By 2024, over 20% of Ohio's residents were aged 65 or older, straining healthcare systems and reducing the workforce needed for economic growth. Ohio's urban centers, once thriving, now face serious challenges. Cleveland has seen its population shrink from over 900,000 in 1950 to 367,000 in 2023. It consistently ranks among the nation's poorest big cities. Youngstown lost 60% of its population since 1950, making it one of the most extreme cases of urban decline in the U.S. Dayton struggles with poverty, with 1 in 4 residents living below the poverty line. Ohio's political landscape is deeply divided. Budgetary crises add fuel to the fire. In 2023, Ohio faced a $1.5 billion shortfall, forcing cuts to essential services like education and infrastructure repair. Ohio's struggles extend far beyond economics and politics, with deep-seated social challenges impacting daily life. Related drug addiction, Ohio remains at the epicenter of America's opioid crisis. In 2023, the state recorded over 5,000 overdose deaths, ranking among the top 5 states for opioid fatalities. Poverty affects 12.7% of Ohio's population, higher than the national average. Crime is also a concern. In Cleveland, the violent crime rate is 1,600 per 100,000 residents, making it one of the most dangerous cities in the U.S. and number 6 Michigan. Michigan, once a leader in American manufacturing due to its auto industry, has faced significant economic challenges in recent decades. The state's decline in manufacturing jobs, especially in the automotive sector, led to widespread job losses and factory closures. From 2000 to 2010, Michigan lost over 440,000 manufacturing jobs. The auto industry's collapse in the early 2000s, marked by major companies like General Motors and Chrysler seeking government bailouts, intensified the crisis. The state's failure to diversify into new industries left it vulnerable to economic fluctuations. Detroit, once a thriving city, experienced dramatic population loss and urban decay, with its population shrinking from nearly 2 million in the 1950s to under 670,000 by 2020. The city's decline, driven by job loss, rising crime, and deteriorating infrastructure, worsened its economic challenges. Michigan's shrinking tax base resulted in budget cuts that affected public services, education, and infrastructure, contributing to fiscal problems, such as Detroit's bankruptcy in 2013. Social issues like high poverty rates and crime, particularly in urban areas, further hindered Michigan's recovery. In Detroit, poverty exceeds 30%, with many residents struggling with affordable housing, healthcare, and employment. Michigan also faces environmental challenges, exemplified by the Flint water crisis, which exposed thousands to lead-contaminated water due to poor governance. Aging infrastructure and the need for significant investment in public facilities remain ongoing concerns. These issues highlight the complex road ahead for Michigan's economic and social recovery. Number 5. Alabama. Alabama, known as the Heart of Dixie, is steeped in history, culture, and Southern hospitality. In 2025, Alabama is grappling with economic stagnation, high poverty rates, a shrinking population, and social issues that demand urgent attention. Alabama's economy has long relied on industries like agriculture, manufacturing, and aerospace, but growth has been slow in recent years. The state's GDP grew by just 1.2% in 2023, compared to the national average of 2.6%. Median household income in Alabama is $54,000, significantly lower than the national median of $74,000. Rural areas are particularly affected, with limited access to jobs and infrastructure keeping many communities in economic stagnation. High cost of living. Despite being one of the more affordable states in the U.S., certain costs in Alabama have been rising faster than incomes. Utility bills are among the highest in the country, with residents paying an average of $1,800 annually. Healthcare costs in Alabama have surged, with many families spending over $7,500 per year on medical expenses. Housing affordability is also a concern, with rents in urban areas like Birmingham increasing by 25% over the past decade. Alabama has one of the highest poverty rates in the nation. As of 2023, 16.1% of Alabama residents live below the poverty line, compared to the national average of 11.6%. Rural counties like Wilcox and Perry are among the poorest in the U.S., with poverty rates exceeding 30%. Education remains a significant challenge in Alabama. The state ranks 47th in the nation for public education quality, with low test scores and high dropout rates. Only 26% of adults hold a bachelor's degree, compared to the national average of 37%. Chronic underfunding and teacher shortages have left many schools struggling to provide basic resources and support for students. Alabama is also experiencing a worrying trend of population decline. In 2023, the state saw a net loss of 15,000 residents, as many young people and professionals moved to states with better job opportunities and quality of life. The aging population is growing, with 17% of residents now over the age of 65, placing additional strain on healthcare and social services. Alabama faces a host of social challenges that exacerbate its economic and population issues. The state's violent crime rate in 2023 was 6.4 per 1,000 residents, well above the national average of 4.0. Alabama has one of the highest rates of opioid addiction in the country, with over 1,200 overdose deaths reported in 2023. Limited access to treatment programs and healthcare services makes it difficult to address this ongoing crisis. Alabama ranks 46th in healthcare access and quality, with rural residents facing significant barriers to care. Number 4. West Virginia. West Virginia, often referred to as the Mountain State, is a place of breathtaking natural beauty, rich traditions, and deep cultural pride. However, in recent years, West Virginia has faced significant challenges that threaten its economic stability and social well-being. From the decline of its coal industry. For decades, coal was the lifeblood of West Virginia's economy, providing jobs and powering communities. But the industry's decline has left a deep impact. Since 2011, the state has lost over 45% of its coal mining jobs, with fewer than 13,000 miners remaining employed as of 2023. The global shift toward cleaner energy sources, coupled with automation and depleted coal reserves, has reduced demand for West Virginia's coal. In 2023, coal production in the state dropped to 89 million short tons, down from 158 million in 2008. Despite its rural setting, West Virginia's cost of living has risen in key areas, adding strain to already struggling households. The average household spends nearly $4,200 annually on utilities, among the highest in the U.S., due to aging infrastructure and harsh winters. Healthcare costs are also steep, with West Virginia ranking among the top 10 states for out-of-pocket medical expenses. Poverty is another significant challenge. In 2023, West Virginia's poverty rate stood at 15.8%, the fifth highest in the nation. Rural areas are hit hardest, with limited access to education, healthcare, and job opportunities keeping many families in a cycle of poverty. The population decline further exacerbates these issues. Between 2020 and 2023, the state lost nearly 30,000 residents as people left in search of better jobs and living conditions. West Virginia's aging population, nearly 21% of residents are over 65, is shrinking the workforce and placing additional strain on social services. Education and healthcare gaps. West Virginia ranks 45th in the nation for education, with 30% of adults lacking a high school diploma. Healthcare access remains limited, particularly in rural areas, contributing to poor health outcomes such as high rates of diabetes and heart disease. Number 3. Illinois. Illinois was once at the heart of America's manufacturing boom, with steel mills, factories, and a strategic location for transportation fueling its growth. However, deindustrialization, mismanagement, and shifting economic trends have led to widespread economic challenges. Illinois is one of the most financially troubled states in the U.S., with a total debt estimated at $203 billion in 2023. These financial woes have resulted in a poor credit rating, making it one of the lowest-rated states in the U.S. This forces Illinois to pay higher interest rates on loans, further exacerbating its fiscal struggles. Illinois has experienced a significant population decline, losing over 141,000 residents in 2022 alone, marking the 9th consecutive year of population loss. Chicago, the state's economic engine, has seen tens of thousands of residents relocate to other states. Illinois residents face some of the highest tax burdens in the country, with a combined state and local tax rate of 12.9%, ranking 8th nationwide. Coupled with a rising cost of living, these factors have driven many families and businesses to states with more favorable economic conditions. Illinois has a notorious reputation for political corruption, with 4 of its past 9 governors being convicted of crimes, including bribery and fraud. This deep-rooted corruption undermines public trust and complicates efforts to implement meaningful reforms. Years of scandals and mismanagement have left Illinois residents skeptical of the government's ability to address the state's challenges, from economic recovery to crime prevention. Chicago has become a symbol of the state's larger social instability, grappling with rising violent crime rates. In 2023, Chicago reported over 650 homicides, a stark reminder of the city's struggles with gun violence, gang activity, and systemic inequality. Rising property crime and carjackings have fueled fears about public safety, further motivating residents to leave the city and the state altogether. Illinois' once mighty manufacturing sector has been in decline for decades. Between 2000 and 2020, the state lost over 300,000 manufacturing jobs, a drop of nearly 40%. Illinois stands at a crossroads, while the state faces an array of daunting challenges. Number 2. New York. New York, historically an economic powerhouse and cultural epicenter, is now confronting significant challenges. From economic troubles to social instability, the state's decline in key sectors highlights the growing struggles of one of America's most iconic regions. New York City, while still a global hub, has seen declining appeal for many residents due to high rents, rising crime, and urban congestion. Upstate cities like Buffalo and Rochester have also struggled with population stagnation and economic decline. New York has one of the highest tax burdens in the U.S., with a combined state and local tax rate of 14.1%, the highest nationwide. Additionally, the cost of living in New York City is nearly 87% above the national average, pushing both residents and businesses to relocate to more affordable states. From 2020 to 2023, New York experienced a net population loss of over 500,000 residents, the second largest decline in the U.S. Many have moved to states like Florida and Texas, citing lower taxes, a more affordable lifestyle, and warmer climates. New York City, despite its reputation as a cultural and financial hub, has faced rising crime rates in recent years. In 2023, the city saw increase of 22% crime rates compared to pre-pandemic levels in 2019, including assaults and robberies. Public safety concerns have contributed to both residential and business outmigration. New York state government has faced ongoing fiscal challenges, with budget deficits projected to reach $9 billion by 2025. The state heavily relies on federal funding to maintain critical services, raising concerns about long-term sustainability. New York's political landscape is increasingly polarized, with tensions between urban centers like New York City and rural upstate regions. Disagreements over tax policies, infrastructure spending, and public safety have created a fractured state governance. New York aging infrastructure. Upstate cities like Syracuse and Albany are grappling with crumbling infrastructure. The state's roads and bridges received a C grade from the American Society of Civil Engineers in 2023, highlighting the urgent need for repairs and modernization. New York has been hit hard by natural disasters, including Hurricane Sandy in 2012, which caused over $19 billion in damages in New York City alone. Recent flooding events have further stressed the state's preparedness and resiliency in the face of climate change. New York's current challenges reflect deeper systemic issues affecting many northeastern states, including economic inequality, political gridlock, and environmental vulnerabilities. Number 1. California. Once hailed as the Golden State, California has long been a symbol of opportunity, innovation, and natural beauty. However, in recent years, the state has faced a series of mounting challenges that have shaken its reputation as a land of unlimited potential. One of the most significant factors contributing to California's economic decline is the ever-growing cost of living. The cost of living in California has skyrocketed in recent years. According to a 2023 study by the California Policy Center, California ranks as the fourth most expensive state, with housing costs, particularly the median home price in California, reached $756,000 in 2023, far higher than the national median of $420,000. In 2022, over 350 companies, including Oracle and Tesla, relocated headquarters to lower-cost states like Texas and Florida. The state has one of the highest income inequality rates in the U.S., with middle-class households shrinking by 10% between 2000 and 2020. California has the largest homeless population in the U.S., with over 171,000 people experiencing homelessness in 2023. This accounts for nearly one-third of the nation's total homeless population. Housing costs in California have skyrocketed, with rents in urban hubs like San Francisco averaging $3,000 per month for a one-bedroom apartment. Cities like Los Angeles and San Diego have seen dramatic increases in housing insecurity, compounded by limited availability and zoning restrictions that slow new housing development. California is no stranger to natural disasters, with wildfires and droughts becoming more frequent and severe in recent years. In 2023 alone, the state faced over 7,000 wildfires, which burned more than 3 million acres of land. California's population has declined for the first time in decades, with estimates from the California Department of Finance showing a decrease of nearly 500,000 people from 2020 to 2023. This marks a significant reversal for a state that had long been a destination for migrants. Many Californians are leaving for states with lower costs of living, like Arizona, Nevada, and Texas. These departures are driven by unaffordable housing, high taxes, and better job opportunities elsewhere. Violent and property crimes have increased in major cities, with San Francisco reporting a 7.5% rise in violent crime in 2023. Retail theft and drug-related crimes have also surged, fueling public concern about safety. These states are not just numbers on a map. They represent real people facing very real challenges. From the young families who are forced to leave in search of affordable living to the retirees who no longer feel safe in their hometowns, the collapse of these states is having a profound effect on those who call them home. What do you think? Do you live in one of these states? How has it affected you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos. Thanks for watching.